We are inside of the 60th anniversary of the 1965 Voting Rights Act.
I was working in the office of Congressman William L. Dawson, who was a signer and a petitioner of the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
It was almost like the Sox had won the World Series.
When it happened, I remember my mother coming in and sharing with me. She said, a lot of this you may not understand because we were in Europe.
It prohibits racial discrimination in voting and stands as a landmark victory in our fight for justice and equality.
This voting gave us access to power that people didn't want us to have.
I'm Devorah Crable, founder of Know Your Power Vote, inviting you to honor those who fought and in many cases died for our right to vote by sharing your voting legacy. Your stories inspire others to participate in the democratic process.
My mother at that time, she pointed her finger at me and said, it's your turn and we are the future. She said, we were the future. Like we're telling these young people today that they are the future.
And it's so important for us to vote because why are we trying to have people that's going to take that away when we can vote people in to protect us and protect the rights that we work so hard to get?
As I got older, I learned the struggle of people of color. They had to fight for the right to vote. That's why it's still a Voting Rights Act. It's not a law even. So after all these years, it still has not been passed into law. It's an act. People don't realize that can be taken away from you.
To come back to a society that I feel that I no longer belong. And it's sad because I have children. And my children rely on me. Son's 18. When I get home, I say, mijo, son, we got to go ahead. You got to get this registered so they can be in the system,
In order to get people more civically engaged, we need to make them understand that every policy is personal and that every single vote affects them personally.
Voting should be a family affair, just like we talk about getting ready to watch the Super Bowl, getting ready to watch the World Series, getting ready to watch Sunday football and Monday Night Football. We should be motivated and talking in our circles about getting ready to vote and making sure that we do our homework to vote our interests.
Too far. We made too much progress to stop now or to go back, but we must move forward.
Coming live October 5, he said, you find me 50,000 new registered voters and we found 100,000. So we know how to do it and we do it well. Collectively, we can remake this nation and we definitely need to do that. We still have to register millions of people that are still unregistered, but we are the backbone of this country.
Aside from being one of my historical, my mentors, people I admired, he was also a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Upsilon Sigma chapter. He was actually became a Sigma man when he was mayor. As a historian, I think Harold Washington and his legacy really propelled the black electorate into the next level. Becoming a mayor of one of the most segregated cities in the United States, if not the world, was incredibly monumental. As we think about where we are as black people today and how the political and economic landscape is changing, looking at the progressive policy that Harold Washington tried to institute during his administration, something we need to keep our eyes on the prize if we're going to move forward and continue these progressive, continue to be really the strong structural part and the backbone of Chicago.
Johnny Colleyville. I'm Executive Director of Project Sound Off. I encourage all my seasoned citizens. I correct all my young youth. I'm talking about if you're eligible to vote, get out to vote for the midterms. You have a civic duty. It is critical. And most important, it makes changes. Vote for the person who you think is qualified to sit in that seat. Okay, this is my team and my friends here at DePaul University. We just got to do a session. We want you to vote.
I'm Allison, a student at DePaul. We're all in the rehabilitation, reintegration, and reentry class here. And if prison reform is important to you, you gotta vote. You gotta vote, you gotta make that change, you gotta do what you gotta do. You have a civic duty, you have a civic right to make a change, so go and do it.
My name is Sally. I work for Strides for Peace, which is a nonprofit focusing on gun violence prevention. We all have a civic duty to vote.
My name's Lily. I'm a student working criminal justice, and I agree. I think we all have a right to vote.
My name's Ellen. I'm a student at DePaul. I also do civics education at the Cook County Jail, and I think everybody who has the right to vote should vote.
My name's Emily. I'm also a student at DePaul, and voting's important. You should go and do it.
I'm Darlene Beal, and I'm his wife. And I was out the very first morning that they announced early voting was available. I was there, first one at the courthouse. I voted.
Hi, I'm Paisley. I'm a criminology student, and if you care about anything, please vote.
Hi, I'm Liv. I'm also a student, and there's a lot of judges up right now, so that impacts a lot of people's lives. So vote for them.
DePaul University students, vote!
In 1975, when my father started the Push Excel program, he spoke at hundreds of high schools, not only in the city of Chicago, throughout our state and around our country, advocating that when a senior graduates from high school, they should have a diploma in one hand, symbolizing knowledge and wisdom, and a voter registration card in the other, symbolizing power and responsibility.
We're making a little good trouble. We've got to prepare the next generation. We've got to prepare them. And in a time like this, we need to prepare them so they can have a voice, a seat at the table.
The most concrete action you can take is casting a ballot for the people who are in charge of your society. So and we want young people to be the leaders, and that's why it's important to make sure all these young people are able to cast their ballots.
We want to make sure that young people understand the process of what it means to register to vote, to understand the process of how government works for them, and to understand that government is supposed to serve their needs. And one of the best ways to make sure that happens is by making sure that young people have a voice and that they use it.
Voting is a gateway to having a voice in decisions that impact young people's lives. And yet many of us want to engage but don't always know how or when. And that's why it's so important that schools and youth spaces become trusted places where we can learn about voting and build lifelong civic habits. So this bill meets young people where we already are and gives us a real pathway to participate in our democracy.
Voting guide! Voting guide!
This is a nonpartisan bill. We're not telling students who to vote for or what to vote for. We're just asking them to register and vote. This is about getting them educated and registered so that they know that their voice needs to be represented and heard.
What they have begun here has the power to inspire other states at a critical moment in our democracy to mirror this legislation and empower 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds to accept the responsibility for the future of this nation to which they will inherit upon their graduations.
I worked besides Reverend Jackson for almost 50 years. I traveled with him. I saw his pain, but I also saw his hope. And he wants every child in this nation to be able to register to vote, to become civically engaged, and have a determination, make a decision to be part of this whole political process and control their future. And knowing his passion for the young people, this bill is a legacy bill and a contribution to the work that he's done for this whole nation. When I worked with Devorah Crable and saw that the children in this state were not being registered to vote, I could hear his voice saying, do something, do something, do something. And so we did something. We've got about 3,000 take action letters that have been sent in. They're already pre-written. knowyourpowervote.us. You can go there and send a take action letter. It goes to your state rep or your senator asking them to vote for this bill.
We are living in perilous times, and your vote can change the trajectory of our country. I hear people all the time say, well, there's just no point. Well, don't complain about the state of our country if you're not going to go out and vote.